Hey everyone, welcome to the first annual Spyro Month, where anytime this month, I'm going to be talking about Spyro the Dragon. God damn it. Sorry guys, started writing the script before I saw that video. We should probably start rethinking this now. Anyway, I've been wanting to do this ever since the category started Bandicoot Month, and Andrew did Mario Month, and ever since it just became a yearly occurrence. For those who don't remember, in one of my updates I said I was going to do a Spyro Month, and in the video I was pretty vague with my details. So basically, every September I'm going to be dedicating every month to Spyro. Now why did I pick September for this? Well, a couple for reasons actually. That's when the Reignited Trilogy came out on PC and Nintendo Switch last year. That's when the first game came out, September 8th, 1998, and Spyro's name started with an S, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyway, just like Crash, I never really knew about the Spyro trilogy until the Reignited Trilogy came out, but unlike Crash, I actually didn't know about Spyro until I played Skylanders. Let me explain!
Don't get me wrong, I love the Reignited Trilogy. I put so many hours on it, but nowhere near the amount of hours I spent on CTR Nitro Fueled and maybe even the original Crash trilogy. And even though I love the Reignited Trilogy, I'll probably still prefer Crash over Spyro. And since I don't share any prior memories of Spyro, I thought the best way to start off with my first theme month is with the first game, Spyro the Dragon. Anyway, Insomniac Games, the creators of games like Ratchet & Clank, Infamous, the next-gen Spider-Man game, and Unspoken, but Insomniac first started off with the first-person shooter. But anyway, when the shooter wasn't so well for the company, Universal decided to give Insomniac another chance to come up with a more family-friendly game to rival the Nintendo 64, and lo and behold, Spyro the Dragon. The team would go on to make a great trilogy of games, combined with Naughty Dog's Crash Bandicoot. PlayStation would have its very own mascots like Mario and Sonic. Fun fact, in Crash Warped, you can actually play a demo of Spyro the Dragon by putting in the Konami code in the title screen, and the same thing goes to Spyro 1. Even though I'm more of a Crash fan than a Spyro fan, I'd be a dumbass to deny that Spyro along with Crash and Solid Snake pretty much made the PlayStation. Now that we got the history lesson out of the way, let's talk about the story. The story starts off in the world of the dragons. The dragons are in an interview when the interviewer starts up bringing up Nasty Nork. Another dragon comes in and calls him ugly, simple, and no threat. After that, Nasty Nork goes on a rampage, shooting all the dragons and crystals, besides Spyro. He manages not to get sealed because of his small size, and also up to him to free all the dragons, collect all the gems, and torch Nasty Nork for once and for all.
That's it. I mean, just like any other platform at the time, the story doesn't mean a goddamn thing. The real thing of the game is the gameplay.
Anyway, as a collectathon, Spyro doesn't really bring anything new to the table. It's kind of like how Mario or Banjo-Kazooie kind of handled it, or more modern attempts like Yooka-Laylee or Hat in Time, games that I haven't ever played yet. Spyro's moveset is pretty simple. You can charge into enemies, and this might just be me, but I always found killing enemies via charging felt so good to do. It might have something to do with that impact you make on enemies. His charges alone makes him run faster, and he can also flame enemies. And what's really cool about this is that this game kind of uses his attacks in a certain way. For the big enemies, you need to flame them. For the enemies wearing armor, you need to charge them. Spyro can also glide because, you know, he's a fucking dragon. His glide lets him get to places easier, and the higher you jump, the more height you're gonna get. Spyro can also do this roll attack, which I honestly forgot that was in the game. It's supposed to help you dodge enemies, but it really isn't that hard to just jump out of the way. As you progress, you'll probably notice more small things like sheeps, lizards, mushrooms, and other stuff. That's where Sparks comes in. His color represents your health meter. If your color is anything below yellow, that means it's draining. To stop that from happening, you need to torch or charge into small enemies. They release butterflies so Sparks can eat them. Sparks can also pick up gems as long as you're near them, he automatically picks them up. Anyway, to progress to this next set of levels, you need to free the dragons from their crystals. And what's really cool that these dragons also have in-game dialogue after you free them.
Spyro, did you see a man dressed in blue running around here? He's a thief, and he's stolen a dragon egg! You've got to track him down and get that egg! Run! Run! I'm getting a little winded.
I didn't say it was good, I said it was there. When you free most of them, a lot of them just give you some advice, but others are just...
Spyro, it's great to see you, but I've got to go.
What the f-
And then there's the infamous "thank you for releasing me" line.
Thank you for releasing me, Spyro.
Just a lot of dragons just say that one line. Some of them are just mostly recalls of the other dragons, and I mean some of them even use the same voice clip.
Thank you for releasing me. Thank you for releasing me.
Thank you for releasing me.
Again. Say
Thank you for releasing me, Spyro.
again. I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker.
Anyway, you need to free all the dragons in that world, beat that world boss, if you can call it that, and then rinse to repeat. I like how a lot of these levels have certain themes, like how Ice Cavern is kind of like a snowland, Dry Canyon is kind of like a war zone, and Treetops is, as trees, and the stupid ass jump. The Artisan's homeworld is supposed to be an art world, hence the name, but there really isn't anything to explain that. Thankfully, the Reignited trilogy shows a little bit more detail on what the Artisan's theme is supposed to be. Then there are the Speedway levels. There are free flight levels where you can flame and charge into planes, skydivers, light posts the fastest you can. These levels have pretty much become a staple to the Spyro series, and I completely suck at them. Like, I don't know if it's because the turn window is too tight while free flying, but I just can't really get into this like other people have. Don't get me wrong, some of them are pretty fun, but I just can't really get them all, at least on my third or fourth try. Now let's move on before I piss off any more OG Spyro fans. The other collectibles are gems. You can either find gems in plain sight or inside of a chest. There's also gems you can find in an iron chest that you can't open with a normal charge. That's where speed ramps come in. You charge on them, the supercharge, and there you go. It also helps break iron chest, and it just feels really good pulling this off. There's something really satisfying just smashing everything that's in your path. That's what she said. Some chests actually need the keys somewhere on the level to open them. These gems also have different values. The red ones count as 1, the green ones count as 2, the blue ones count as 5, the golden ones count as 10, and the purple ones count as 25. Sometimes the gems are used as currency to exchange to the balloonists to get to other worlds in the dragon realms. Then there are the dragon eggs. Each world has an egg thief on the loose with the dragon egg. I know I'm gonna sound weird for this, you can blame Master J for that. But now I can't stop thinking about how dragons reproduce in this world. Every other dragon has been male, and the youngest is Spyro, so I don't know where dragon eggs would come from. Anyway, once you collect all the dragon eggs, you get nothing. And no, I'm serious. You actually don't get rewarded for collecting all of them. And it looks like the game forgot about them too, because they just stopped counting them by the third world. There really isn't any incentive to get them other than bragging rights. The gems, however, unlock a new stage called Nasty's Loot, which is actually a free-to-flight stage where you do nothing but collect gems. And it's nice to see that Insomniac Games managing to make a new world without the first game being working hard to 100% like Crash 1.
Jeez, it's like I'm having war flashbacks.
So once you collect everything, you get a secret ending where pieces are stored to the Dragon World until Nasty Nord crystallizes them again, because that worked so well last time, Nasty. Also, that has nothing to do with the sequel, so this foreshadowing is kind of unnecessary. The boss fights are just pathetic. All they do is just do a loop set of attacks and just run away and repeat. Even the final boss is structured like this. The only one I like was Metalhead, but he was still pretty easy. I think the worst one was Jack. I don't know how to spell that. I would see others try to attack you. This one poses no threat whatsoever. And I would like to mention that the credits in this game aren't just the usual scrolling credits you see in literally every other game ever. It's more like the escaping views in this game than in the worlds that you explored in this game. It's just way better than just scrolling credits, and just really nice seeing these levels from this kind of scope. Like, this game still looks pretty good. All the worlds are pretty vibrant and fit the colorful world of this game. Sure, the draw distance is pretty dreadful, but it's the PS1, so the developers didn't really have a lot to work with. But in the big picture, the game is pretty beautiful overall. Although the character models look pretty dated compared to other games on the PS1. Back in 1998, this was where lip-syncing animations were at. Nowadays, it's just kind of ugh. A lot of the dragon's teeth look like circles painted onto their mouths, and sometimes Spyro's eyebrows don't even look like they're connected to his forehead, and his eyes just look like paper glued on. The soundtrack holds up really well. Stuart Copeland did a really great job. Every song in this game is a masterpiece, and thankfully in the Reignited trilogy, you can keep those on if you want, which is what I personally do, even though the theme of Wizard's Peak was just straight up ripped out of the Amanda Show, which Stuart Copeland also did the soundtrack for. Anyway, some of my favorite tracks are Dark Hollow because of how peaceful it sounds, Wild Flight because of the guitars and drums that were used in that song, and the Beastmaker's World is just a great sound to your ears. And as soon as you open up the game, the title screen is just popping. You know that your soundtrack is the best when your title screen is the best song in the game. So yeah, Stuart Copeland is genius. He made one of the best soundtracks of all time. I love them. Pause. In conclusion, this is a great collectathon. It sets off the series with very great controls and great music, and it's also great that the sequels have just the right amount of difficulty without one strangling themselves in some of the Jak 2 missions. I want to talk about war flashbacks. However, that being said, a lot of other platformers do the collectathon thing way better. I mean, the sequels improve on the formula and make it even better. Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, Banjo-Kazooie, all those other games, they may not be sound as Spyro, but the worlds you play in and the characters you interact with are just way more interesting to me. To be fair, Spyro did come out way before most of those games, but from someone who played those games first, these worlds just come off as a little bit barren and not very engaging. But as far as first games go, I'll gladly play this over Crash 1. Crash's really heavy jumping physics don't really suit the tight and precise platforming, but Spyro's controls feel more fluid, more smoother, and even though this game is pretty easy, I think it's better than Crash's first outing. Don't misunderstand me, I'm not calling Crash 1 bad. I think it's a very fun game to play every once in a while. Just that these two games are radically different games, difficulty rise.
Anyway, that's it for Spyro 1. At its heart, it's a really great game, but it kind of suffers from Anyway, that's it for Spyro 1. Anyway, that's it for Spyro 1. At its heart, it's a really great game, but it kind of suffers from barren level design, uninteresting characters, really easy difficulty, and really bad boss fights. Spyro 1's kind of one of those video games where it kind of does a great job at setting out the footprints with what's to come to the series, but the sequels just do a better job overall. Anyway, enough of me complaining about a nearly 22-year-old game, because next time we're going to be looking at Spyro 2, Ricto's Rage, also known as Gateway to Glimmer in Europe and Australia. I mean, it's like, why do games need regional games? I mean, Gateway to Glimmer is a good enough name, but Ricto's Rage sounds better. But until that video comes out, thank you guys for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.
What if you wanted to go to heaven, but God said,
Besides, he is ugly.
Where's Nasty Nork? I'll torch him.
Keep your horns on, Spyro! You have much to learn first. Do you know what the dragonfly following you is doing? His name is Sparks, and he's helping and protecting you. Keep an eye on him and see what I mean.
Hey, didn't I already free you?
You're in Nasty's world now, Spyro, and you are the dragon who must defeat him.
Bring him on! I'm ready!
Reach the exit in each of Nasty's lands. Then you can challenge the Nork himself.
Oh, just Nasty Nork is a simple creature. Simple! He has been contained in a remote world and is no threat to the Dragon Kingdom. No threat! Besides, he is ugly. That does it!
Hi, I'm Pig with today's viewer mail. Here's a letter from Violet, age 5. Dear Pig, are you sure there's time on the show to do this? Good question, Violet. The answer is no. Bye-bye!
Wow! I never thought I'd be rescued, especially by such a little dragon. What I mean is, I always believed in you, Spyro.
You gotta believe!
I believe. That's the spirit. I believe that everybody I know is a goner!